Shoes, aka sneakers, have been around for almost 40,000 years and seem to be a quite simple piece of clothing. However, over time, this simple accessory has evolved into much more than something you wear on your feet. The Merriam-Webster dictionary definition of a sneaker is a sports shoe that has a pliable rubber sole. However, I feel that sneakers deserve a much more complex definition as they have evolved over time. Well, the question is, how did sneakers become so popular and how did their culture evolve? To find this answer, we must go back to the 1900s when the most common type of shoe was the Oxford shoe, which got its name from being invented in England's Oxford University. This more traditional style of shoe took over nearly the entire century and is still fairly common in current day fashion. But things began to change in the later decades of the 20th century and into the early 2000s when sneakers saw a large surge in popularity. Peter Very, an editor at Footwear News, said that as the United States trended more casual as a culture, sneakers had the opportunity to rise up as a particularly hot commodity, causing a sudden increase in demand for footwear that was both fashionable and comfortable. This surge of sneaker desire led to the explosion of shoe companies, and the most notable company to capitalize on this opportunity is Nike. The company was originally called Blue Ribbon Sports, but changed their name to Nike in 1978. The company was relatively successful in selling sneakers, but their real success began in 1984 when Nike signed the most impressive and important endorsement in footwear with the signing of Michael Jordan. They got this endorsement in a meeting in which they promised the soon-to-be star $500,000 a year for 5 years, 2 die-cast Mercedes cars, and shoes customized to his specific requests. Michael Jordan was going into his professional basketball career when Nike signed the deal with him, and while his basketball skill was known to be a success, Nike never could have imagined the way that Jordan's sneaker line would change the world. Nike hit $1.2 billion in revenue in 1988, just 4 years after signing MJ, and their profits continued to skyrocket. Jordan proved in his basketball career to be one of the best basketball players to ever play the game, and his sneakers became some of the most sought-after products of his era. Nike quickly recognized the buzz around the greatness of Michael Jordan and began running advertisements that promoted his shoes as a status symbol and representation of the culture at the time. According to an article titled "It's Gotta Be the Shoes" by Brian Wilson and Robert Sparks, in 1991 Nike launched a new television and commercial as a part of a series featuring Michael Jordan and the Nike Air Jordan brand.
Is it the shoes? Money's gotta be the shoes. Shoes. Look, Mom, I can fly with these thumping sneakers.
These ads made it seem as if Michael Jordan's performance came from his sneakers rather than his skill, and therefore built an even bigger buzz around the Jordan sneakers. At this point, I feel like the sneaker culture that we see today was born. Jordan Brand became one of the leading factors in why sneakers are such an important part of our lives. The kids that grew up seeing the "It's Gotta Be the Shoes" ads have carried their love and appreciation for sneakers into their adult lives. This generation began to collect sneakers and see them as collectible items that represent so much more than the dictionary definition of sneakers. For example, the Chicago Jordan 1 is one of the most iconic sneakers ever made. This classic red, black, and white pair was the version Michael Jordan wore the most often, from November of '84 in his rookie year to April of '86, when no less than Larry Bird called him
out there. It was God disguised as Michael Jordan.
This type of importance continued in the creation of Jordans 1 through 12, and they continue to be made today. As time has gone by and we get further away from the releases of these Jordans, Nike and Jordan Brand have began to re-release shoes or create retro Jordans. The meaning behind these retro Jordans go all the way back to Michael Jordan's era, and the generation that witnessed Jordan tear up the NBA will do almost anything to get their hands on certain pairs of retro Jordan sneakers. The sneakers have become a piece of nostalgia for people, and Jordan Brand has proved to be a leading brand in the sneaker culture today. However, the sneaker culture only began with Jordan Brand. The sneaker game has continued as Adidas started their own brand of sneakers under the endorsement and support of infamous rapper Kanye West in a shoe brand that they call Yeezy. Yeezy released numerous versions and colorways of their sneakers and have gained a huge following while gaining respect as a brand in sneaker culture. Yeezy and the Nike Jordan brand have clearly been two of the largest contributors to sneaker culture. An article titled "The Aura of the Brand" by Vincent Carducci states that Nike's designers constantly develop new products, and its marketers are ever aware to identify consumer tastes and trends. One way that Nike keeps up with the trends is by releasing exclusive collaborations with other companies and people like Off-White, Sacai, Travis Scott, and Ben & Jerry's. These shoes all cost much more than $100 to $300 that most of the class would spend on sneakers, but because of the uniqueness and exclusivity of these shoes, collectors have begun to create enormous collections of these sneakers that are worth millions. These collectors have gained their own term, sneakerheads, and a culture of sneakerheads is easy to see in today's world, especially on YouTube. YouTubers like Harrison Neville, Kais Omar, and Blazendary are all sneakerheads that have gained a ton of subscribers.
I haven't worn these yet, so these are gonna be nice to put on just to see. So I have to lace these up really quick, and then I'll
to have. And I'll admit it, if the 5s come out with the duck on the back, I'll be a little bit salty.
One of my personal favorites on the Air Jordan 3 is the True Blue with the Nike Air on the back.
Even some of the world's highest paid athletes such as Patrick Mahomes and PJ Tucker have shown their appreciation for sneaker culture with their massive sneaker collections. The thing that stands out the most about all of this is the way that sneakers have become a collector's item and have created a culture around them. Sneakers have been an important part of so many people's lives. Shoes have been a way for people to find common ground and a way for people to enter into a whole new community of sneakerheads. Local sneakerhead and personal friend of mine from Burris High School says that sneakers are
something that can elevate your fashion, or something that can move you into a group of people that you're able to share similar interests with and kind of converse and have relationships with people based off of that, instead of just something that you throw on your feet and don't worry about.
It is clear to see that sneakers are much more than a simple replacement for the Oxford shoe, and from the beginning of sneaker culture with Nike and Jordan brand, sneakers have continued to grow in collectability, importance, and significance. The culture that has been developed around sneakers is easily seen through YouTubers and the community that has grown around the footwear industry. Sneakers are certainly not a simple thing to define. They are much more important than something that you wear on your feet.